is this an appropriate, sensible, practical solution?
Well, I've no idea how it would work. I mean, it seems to me there are two priorities in tackling this dreadful trade across the Channel. One is to work more closely again with the French authorities, because the best thing to do is to stop the boats leaving. These are illegal boat journeys, jeopardizing the lives and well-being of the passengers, operating without a license, doubtless fiddling the taxes. There are all sorts of laws these people are breaking, and the French authorities should detain the boats. They must be able to see them. And many journalists have done good work posing as migrants wanting to travel, and have learned a lot about who organizes the trade, how you buy the ticket, and where the boats come from. And the second thing the authorities need to do in Britain, as I'm sure the Home Secretary is seeking to do, is, whilst doing things fairly and thoroughly, to greatly speed up the processing of claims. Because if somebody comes by an illegal means with no proper papers for entry and then immediately claims asylum, we obviously have to investigate that claim fully and sensibly, but it shouldn't be taking a year or two with all the costs that imposes on taxpayers. If the person is a genuine asylum seeker, let's find that out quickly and let them set up with a job and a home in Britain. And if they are illegal migrants, we need to know that quickly and organise their return to a safe country.
So how do we speed it up, John? Because, OK, let's say the boats were stopped today. You've still got 175,000 migrants waiting for a decision at a cost to the taxpayer of nearly £4 billion a year. That is why the Home Office are looking for these alternative solutions. How are we speeding up processing times, and is putting electronic tags on those individuals going to help?
Well, is the suggestion that the tags are put on all those who are seeking asylum, or is it that they're only going to be put on those who have been revealed as illegal economic migrants? Because they're rather different categories of people with a different response. Because if you're taking everybody who's seeking asylum, some of them are genuine asylum seekers, and that doesn't seem like an appropriate thing to be doing.
The idea is that it would be
a number of illegal criminals in the country, then of course you've got to organise a safe return so that the illegality ends.
Well, the idea is that it would be an alternative to detention before people could be sent to another country, either the country they came from or a third country, because that detention centre...
So this is the illegal migrants only?
Exactly. Yeah. That detention centre only has space for 2,500 people.
I understand that, yeah.
So
but
in that case, do you think the electronic tags would be appropriate?
Well, but it's it's about pace of decision taking, and then making sure you have routes for safe return, and there's still legal uncertainty about that. And so we need a speedy answer to the legal processes, and or something I and some of my friends have been recommending, a clarification of the UK law so that the courts understand that if someone is an illegal migrant, it is perfectly reasonable for the country to return them to a safe country.
I think what people at home might be saying is, we definitely need a speedier option. What options or solutions are the government looking at to make it faster?
Well, as I understand it, the Home Secretary has directed considerably more staff to the task, and the Migration Minister, who is a capable man who's got involved in a lot of the detail that normally senior officials would be doing, is finding ways to increase the number of cases handled fairly and sensibly, because the rate of decision had dwindled to a very unacceptably slow pace, meaning we had this enormous backlog with all the pressure that is creating on our individual communities to provide hotel space and divert hotels from more normal economic and social purposes, and that is clearly unacceptable. So they've got to work away, the ministers, trust with the goodwill of the senior officials who are the managers of the relevant departments, to make sure that more cases are determined by each member of staff over a year, and that there are enough staff so that that backlog can be greatly reduced.
Do you think the staff would be better placed in doing the processing rather than, let's say, the admin, presumably significant admin headache of doing things like deploying electronic tags?
Well, I would need to be persuaded about the role of the electronic tag. I'm grateful for the clarification that it's only going to apply to those who have been found to be illegal migrants. I think the bigger problem is to work out how many of the people in the system are illegal migrants and therefore need a safe place to return them to, and how many are genuine asylum seekers, because it's bad for both categories, because you're taking a great chunk out of their lives sitting in a hotel, bored to tears, and relying on a huge amount of taxpayer money to keep that lifestyle going, when they should either be welcomed as people into our country and have a chance of finding a job and a home of their own, or the illegal migrant should be packing their bags ready to go home.
Let's talk about the looming by-election for the party. We finally heard from Nadine Dorries about her resignation on Talk TV. She said, we can have a listen to it now, that Rishi Sunak's actions led to threats against her. Let's just take a listen.
I was absolutely shocked to see that Rishi Sunak over the summer, even knowing that a by-election couldn't be called because a writ couldn't be moved, kind of opened up the conversation, which whipped up a public frenzy, which has actually endangered my own safety over the past week.
You've been receiving threats?
Yeah. So the police have been to my home. The last contact with the police was 2 days ago, another contact from them. And it came to a point where, I just thought, right, this has got to end now.
John, what's your reaction? Because there's a pretty serious allegation being made against the Prime Minister.
Well, I'm always very sad to hear such allegations. And of course, we're only hearing one side of the story, because the Prime Minister is quite rightly not being drawn into a public discussion about an unfortunate disagreement with one of the MPs he was leading. And it would obviously have been better for all of us if Nadine and the Prime Minister had managed to sort out their disagreements in private and find a way of living together with or without her staying in the House of Commons. It's a great sadness to all us Conservatives that this row has taken place. I have nothing to contribute to it. I don't know the details, and I want us to move on and offer the people in the by-election a good set of Conservative policies that they will wish to endorse. And I think the best response the Prime Minister can make to the varied attacks in the Nadine letter is to show her and the rest of us that there are some really exciting Conservative proposals for more better paid jobs, for a bit more growth, for getting prices down by more direct government action in the way that he suggested he should be doing through his 5 aims.
You mentioned her letter. She said to the Prime Minister, since you took office a year ago, the country's been run by a zombie parliament when nothing meaningful's happened. What's been done, or what have you achieved? She said that the Conservatives can't win under Rishi Sunak. Do you agree with her?
Well, I'm trusting the Prime Minister will prove her wrong, and that is why I am offering friendly advice to the Prime Minister, and I'm supporting the Prime Minister. We have a by-election to win. It can be won by the Conservatives. There are huge flaws with what the Liberal Democrats and the Labour Party are proposing for our country. Indeed, I think many Conservative voters feel that where this government has gone too far in the direction of Labour and Liberal Democrat policy for their liking, the last thing they want is to double up on it by ending up with a Labour or Liberal Democrat government which would do even more of the things they dislike.